Going into rich countries and being poor, which is very difficult. You would have been okay in your
That's probably one of the issues for migration as well from here.
Simple thing, right? One is that access to funding, availability of funding and pricing of funding was really expensive. Next year we will see more consumer spending. So for the first time, I think the economy will have a good spending, which will give a good boost. So given all these factors, the next couple of years is going to be a good time for investments, for employment opportunities and savings, all three combined.
Hi Vishnu, welcome to Talk 20 and
Welcome, Vishnu.
Thanks.
Such a pleasure to have you here.
So Vishnu, as you know, we've called you for a very important discussion, Lanka and I, and we would like to get some insights with regard to what the 2025 is going to hold for us in terms of financial, economic growth for the country.
And the business environment.
And the business environment as well.
Let me try and put it in a very, I would say, non-technical way because to reach the audience as well. But at the end of the day, it is about how positive or negative you are about it. It's about the individual as well and how you feel things are going to work out. But if you take the macro picture, there are a few things that held Sri Lanka back in terms of its growth opportunities for the last couple of years. One is that access to funding, availability of funding and pricing of funding was really expensive. We saw interest rates at 30-35% at one point. And second thing is from a consumer perspective, we saw tax rates, personal tax rates, corporate tax rates be revised upwards, which means we had less savings in our hands and we had lesser money for spending. And the third thing is because of the political environment and I would say the macro picture, we had a lot of resources we lost to migration. And right now where we are getting our blocks in place and things are falling in place, which means access to funding is improving, the cost of funding has come down, and the consumers with the stability of the currency and now we have accepted the tax rates and the macro environment as a new normal. So next year we will see more consumer spending. So for the first time, I think the economy will have a good spending, which will give a good boost. So given all these factors, the next couple of years is going to be a good time for investments, for employment opportunities and savings, all three combined.
So Vishnu, there are various things that might impact how Sri Lanka's trajectory will go with since the government has a supermajority in parliament right now. Would you care to explain to us what those variables are and how we might proceed with that?
That would mean you're waiting for commitment from the politicians to get things done. And that means you're waiting for, hey, what are they going to announce that is going to be positive for us or negative for us? That becomes a very politically dependent thing. And the good thing or the bad thing is that the government in power has two-thirds majority. So provided they have the will, they can get it done because they have supermajority in parliament. But pending that, keeping that aside, the macro picture by itself, irrespective of who is in power and who is going to drive it in that direction, is positive. You are seeing everything businesses need to proceed or move forward or grow falling in place. As I said, rupee is stabilizing a bit. There is room for depreciation once we start repaying the loans and once we open up the markets for vehicles to be imported and other products to be imported. There will be a bit of pressure on the rupee and we will see the rupee depreciate a bit. But interest rates are coming down, credit growth is happening and banks are doing well. So I think that's banks and finance companies doing well is also an indicator that the growth is going to happen. So we have seen that happen already or happening already, and I think there is going to be growth irrespective of political will or not. Political will and support is just going to support it more.
From a small or medium scale business owner's perspective, right? How will all of this impact various? I mean, I'm not saying a particular industry, but like in general, from a SME perspective, what do you think a business owner should look at? Not the high net worth individuals, but like the SME sector.
I would say it's about positioning yourself to capture the right audience with the right spending. At the end of the day, as I said, there is going to be a boost in consumption, and people are going to be spending more on out of their income, which means it's about how you position yourself to capture that spending into your business. You have to, but it's also a good environment because now if people are out and about more and spending a bit more, and that is going to support SMEs, you have to position yourself in those industries.
So, Vishnu, I'm just going to ask you a very layman question. As we all know, currently tax is something where people of Sri Lanka have been burdened with, and do you feel that it is something that could go down given the infrastructure in the country, which at the moment is very, I would say, stringent in terms of tax, but do you feel there is something we could expect in the future?
Not overnight.
Okay.
I mean, it was like we went on a spending spree with our credit card and we never thought about repaying our credit card dues. Now it's like we did it. And we are just replicating that from our personal life into a situation. We did spend a lot on doing things, but now it's time to repay those debt. Yes, it was a difficult pill for everyone to swallow when tax rates went up as high as 36% and the tax-free brackets were brought down. But now we have been in this regime for 1 year. It has become the new normal. So we are looking at how can we grow from here. Our tax rate is going to come down in the immediate future. I don't foresee that happening. But if it does, then it's a bonus. But right now where we are, we have hit rock bottom, and we have had enough time to, I would say, accept and consider it the new normal. So what is going to happen from here is just going to be a lot for us.
I know from like not a lot of people have spare cash to invest these days, but like over the last few years, a lot of people have gone into the money market in the sense fixed income assets like fixed deposits or various treasury bills, bonds. What do you think if somebody has a bit of spare cash to look at in the form of individual's investment sort of idea?
So fixed income rates being really high it's a double-edged sword. People with the money will grow their wealth. People without the money who are on credit for their businesses, who are on credit for their mortgages and vehicle loans and things like that, they would have taken a huge hit. So it is a double-edged sword. Yes, we are not in that honeymoon phase of having 30-35% interest rates anymore. We are coming down to that point where we are upper single digit, low double digit. So anywhere between 9.5 to 10.5% is where, or 11.5% is where interest rates are right now. And with interest rates coming down, people will want to look at alternative investments because now you are not happy with getting 8-9% return after you were used to getting 25-35% returns. So you have to look at alternative investments. I think one place you can look for is look at equity returns. So people can go ahead and invest in the stock market and look at equity returns. It's a good time to invest in equity. Markets have moved up a bit, but we see way more opportunity there. And I think with a little bit of growth in the real economy and mortgage rates coming down, we might see a move in real estate investments. But once again, I would say if you have money and you want to make some investment returns out of it, it's about what you want to primarily do with your time. Managing investments is you competing for your own time from your core profession or business. I would say use the help of professional fund managers. Fund management or getting your money managed for you has become a very, I would say, easy access business right now. There are mutual funds among several investment banks and you can approach them and get your money managed for you because it takes away the headache of you having to look at what's happening to your money on a daily basis. And you have the professional managing it for you. So I would say, even as a person, investment professional for the last 12 years, I prefer less to manage my own money because I get carried away with the work I have. So I do have personal fund managers manage my own money.
Right. I'm just going to ask something out of the blue here. Now that you touched on fund managers, Vishnu, since you are very familiar with fund management and all that, is there anything you could give us laymen an insight about what fund managers do? Because that's something that is quite new at the moment, and for me myself, I'm not very familiar with what they do. Is there any way you can just give out? You don't have to go in detail.
Well, the 2 or 3 questions you asked me about the economy, about interest rates, about exchange rates, investment opportunities. This is what they do day in, day out. They breathe it. They are trying to make predictions about where growth rates are headed, where interest rates are headed, where exchange rates are headed.
Right.
Where is it that they can get the best return for you? So, I mean, it's like going to a doctor when you need medical help. You go to find an investment professional when you want to make returns on your money. If you have enough money to manage it yourself and you want to do it as a full-time job, by all means. But until then, if you are distracted with your profession or any other job, might as well get someone with experience to manage
Demand.
Let me ask it this way. So Vishnu, I think globally also we've come into a very penultimate place. Yes, Trump won and there was a regime change after I think 1.5 decades in the UK. And a couple of days ago, the French Prime Minister was voted out with a no confidence vote. Similarly, there was some turmoil over the last weekend in South Korea where the president declared martial law, and then the lawmakers came back and initiated it. So similarly, Sri Lanka has had a problem with migration, right? And we are losing a lot of good talent because of the difficulties of making in Sri Lanka. Do you have any thoughts on that and how it might impact the future trajectory of Sri Lanka?
Well, as you rightly pointed out, countries across the world are seeing radical changes in political powers, and that will have an impact. But on top of that, I had the, I would say, privilege of being able to take some time off from work, and I was on the move for about 15 months. I traveled quite a bit, about 8 to 10 countries over 15 months. And it's not like life in these countries are very attractive compared to what it is in Sri Lanka. People in these countries are facing issues with inflation, with unemployment, with cost of living has gone through the roof in all these countries. So it's not like life is very comfortable in these countries. But if Sri Lanka is able to show some progress, I think we'll be able to bring back some talent in the medium run. But at least for the short run, I feel we might have slowed down, or we might have managed as a country to slow down migration, so retain talent what is here right now, but attracting the talent to come back is going to take a bit of time, but I think it's only a matter of time.
So are these European countries, or you don't have to mention, but what is the difference between like
the entire world is if you think I told you, US is one thing, right?
Yeah.
Brazil, this bugger lost his laptop at gunpoint. He's a Brazilian, lived in Brazil for 35 fucking years. He got robbed at gunpoint at his own hometown. Yes, you find it everywhere, but these are like very common incidents. Canada has migration issues.
Yeah,
Housing issues, they're having very
housing was correct.
Apartment an hour away from the city is going to cost you like $3,000 to rent a month. I'm not talking about a fancy apartment for yourself. I'm talking about a basement of a house. I'm talking outside. How much you got to earn with minimum pay to be able to afford that.
And with an hour of commute, right?
Yeah, so,
Exactly.
So it's not like any of these countries are having it easy. So it's not like I can say US is better or Canada is better or whatever. But so asking the question, okay, which countries are going in trouble? Doesn't make sense. Because everyone has his own shit. Everyone has his own shit. The reality is also much that sometimes you think, oh, when you're poor, you don't have money, you can't do certain things. Sometimes when you have too much money, also you don't know what to do.
What to do with yourself and where to invest and things like that.
The reality is, all these countries have money. Money has solved one problem. So the issue is, if you're poor in an extremely rich country, your problems are amplified. You're poor in a poor country, everybody is living the same life. So we are going into rich countries and being poor, which is very difficult. You would have been okay in your
That's probably one of the issues for migration as well from here.
Simple thing, right? This I can't say this and this can go on, but say you're earning 200k in Sri Lanka. Yes, you rent a place for about 60k, it's going to not be the greatest place, but you will rent a place.
So you're left with 140.
Groceries is 40,
Right.
and 100k, then you can travel by stick and auto, you can manage yourself school fees, 200, you're managing breaking into 200k is less than 1000 Canadian dollars.
Yes, agreed.
Now, the guy who is earning 200k here goes to Canada, and the first thing he gets is to work in a supermarket counter.
Right.
And you get paid $15 an hour. This minimum wage, you work 40 hours, $600, $2,400. $2,400, you can do for all the people in the rent.
Once you paid your rent, you're done.
At that point, you start looking for
Clearly,
additional
my
jobs.
son, it's not easy. But you can't put this on public.
You can't. I agree.
Activate Canadians. We came here, we have found good jobs. Matan, the only thing that is hurting people from packing up and coming back right now is their egos.
Yes, exactly.
Because they are like, Mama Ratatama Cuba, Mama than Canada.
Canada gihilla. This is a common.
I can't let my pride down to come back. But people will pride their egos for a couple of months, couple of years, then they will have to come back. Some people will live through it because they'll be like, I'm doing it for the kids.
Yeah.
A lot of people will come back. You're already seeing, Matan, the number of people who are sending me CVs saying, if you know a headhunter, tell me, come back from Aussie, come back from Canada.
Because you have to do like 3-4 jobs to survive, and that makes no sense.
Who had 1.5 million salaries who left it here and went.
Yeah.
What the fuck? 1.5 million salary? You could have paid your mortgage, your car loan, you could have had a maid, a driver, and still gone out and had dinner at a fancy restaurant.
So they only basically see the rosy side of it, but they don't really see the reality of
grass is always green on the other side.
That's true.
People still have a rosy picture that migrating is probably a good option than staying here.
And also, like,
it boils down to context, Matan. Say, for example, I really can't complain if you're a messenger at a company earning 50,000-60,000.
Oh, yeah, that is true.
Shit, wherever you go, you're going to get a better life.
yeah, that's
Others
right.
who are in good jobs. When I say good jobs, okay, if you make 200, 300, it's a decent place to start. Is it a good payoff? Not really. You should be earning more and living more. But it's a decent place to start. The challenge is, if these countries had job opportunities open and they were like, come, get employed here, fine, you go there, you will find a job that fits your profile, you will earn much better.
Correct.
That's right.
You are underemployed in most of these countries. Okay, you can get your PR and go to Australia, and you can have a PhD, you can be the head of a business development company here. First thing those others ask is, do you have Australian experience?
No. And then the moment you hear that,
it is nothing to do with Australia's experience. It is because when people migrate from countries, they bring in different work environment experiences and work culture experiences. What people really want to do is test you and see whether you have adapted to Australian working cultures.
This is true.
Because with such high migration booms, what they don't want is, when they have a certain work culture, suddenly 30% of the workforce changing overnight with first-time migrants and the work culture changing. The work culture can make or break an organization.
correct.
Yeah, that's applicable from an organizational perspective and also from like country perspective.
Yes. So what they want is you to get beaten up by some smaller firms about what Australian work culture is. Once you're trained, I'll take you. So that's a lot of these good places say, what is your Australian experience?
I think I have a small important question to ask on those lines. Now, something that I see in the estate sector in Sri Lanka is like a lot of my friends who run estates or manage estates or work in the estate sector complain about continuously that it's very difficult to find labor. And I think it's considered very difficult, hard labor when it comes to the estate sector. Where do you think that industry can go And I think that's relevant in all industries where there's some level of unskilled labor required.
I'm actually a tech dinosaur, so AI and all are nice buzzword, but I really don't know what it does do. I know what it can do, but I don't know how it does it. But there is a lot of processes you can do to automate. And yes, you want people to work in the estate, but that is the lowest income category of people who are in this country. And you can automate the processes there, but that requires commitment from a lot of parties. The leasehold on these plantations need to be extended so that the plantation companies can go ahead and invest in technology because they need to write off the technology over the time.
That's
So
right.
they need longer leases, then you need your framework, regulations. I don't know much about the tea industry. Maybe you need the rights to blend your tea in this country. Now, if you talk about blending tea, is the prime block for tea being blended in Sri Lanka. He's not letting
Anybody
else import tea from countries like India, Kenya, where tea is cheaper. And it's nothing about the quality of the tea. It's not like single malt whiskey is better than blended.
Correct.
Okay, there are some really good blended malt whisky. So the challenge is when you don't blend your tea. Now that is what Dubai is doing. Dubai does not grow a single leaf of tea, but the other was because blended, because they get the tea from a brand, they blend it there and they do it. So because they have this pure Ceylon tea brand globally, they are not letting anybody else import it. And there are arguments for and against. For says we can do the blends and we can have a better outcome. Against says we will dump shitty tea into the country and then we'll do it. So if you want a politically correct answer there, in practice we need to be able to use technology to replace the least value-adding activities. And in order to replace least value-adding activities with technology, there needs to be long-term commitments. So plantations need lease renewables and plantations need capex commitments so that there can be things done to benefit the whole plantation sector over a longer period of time.
Yeah, I think you have a very good point there, Vishnu, because the leases are short. Companies don't have an incentive to invest in the property long term. And they never know whether, depending on which government is going to be there or what circumstances are going to be at the end of the lease, how their business will go. So I don't think
Chicken and egg story as well,
because it's not
population
easy
is also one of the most politically, I would say, manipulated
groups in the country.
because it's not an easy industry because you basically run on a very small margin because of the fact that you're on either side, and if you are to invest in AI or anything like that, you really need something like what Sanka said.
You have, quote unquote, 6 years back, 6 or 7 years back, would have been 2017, 18 again. There were 3 Chinese guys who came out to Sri Lanka. They liked some of the green tea that was being produced in Sri Lanka. They wanted to know whether they can set up a plantation, buy a plantation company here, and purely export their green tea to their brand in China. One, they looked at it. It was not feasible for 2 or 3 reasons. One, we had so much of labor. They said we can have drones do the picking. So they mechanize it, you look at the framework, and then drones can propagate every day. Second thing, they said our tea industry is structured in a way where every tea leaf has to go through the auction.
Correct.
And come. So they are like, why would I want to produce the best green tea for somebody else to buy it from me? I want it coming from my brand. So there are pros and cons of how it works. But that system was also created so that tea brands plantation sector. Because that way no tea plantation can be abused by a particular brand saying I'll buy everything from you, give it at that price. You will come to the auction and
Yes.
No backdoor entry.
Understood.
So Vishnu, thank you so much for joining Talk 20, and you've actually shared a lot of insights with regard to the industries and also with regard to your travel experiences. We hope we could meet you again on Talk 20. with regard to
So
another
now that
topic.
I'm
Yes.
here.
So thank you so much, and we'll hope to see you again soon.
Thanks, Lavanya.
Thank you.